Because we actually are ready to go. They started this much faster than everyone else. Okay, top left of Moondance, it is HeRoMaRinE. Bottom right is ShoWTimE. I drive 12 hours a day. I imagine you're, you know, that's your job.
Resubscription received.
Well, that's why I would never have a job like that, you know? It's like, good for you, but, there's a reason certain jobs are ideal for certain people, right? And I would never be any type of car driver, long distance car driver. Ugh, no. Did a 3-day car trip from Phoenix to Minnesota with 2 cats. Cats got quiet pretty quickly once the trip was underway. Oh, doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, I don't think I'm worried for their safety when it comes to traveling with them via car. Then I'm mostly worried about me not enjoying my life for 4 days. But
thank you for becoming a member.
There is some, you know, concern about that too. I'd be bringing 3 cats. I get to bring 3 cats and my dad would bring 2. So that's the current situation for us right now. Very fun, very fun. I'm a noob, lol. Thank you for 3 months. And Backspace, thank you for the gifted sub. Scoutsy Justice got 10 months in there while I was talking about stuff, I think. Yeah. Thank you, guys. So, sorry for everyone who's just like, what's going on here? Aren't we casting a video game? Yes, I was just talking to Chad about moving and all the joys of moving. As that will be happening next year for me. A long distance as well, quite a lengthy trip. But what do we got going on in this game, right? I don't really need to introduce the players more so than I've already done. If you do not recognize these names, you certainly do not watch many of the Open Cups or any StarCraft, really. Yeah, you'd recognize them. One of the best Terrans, kind of dueling Clem for best Terran in Europe. Versus one of the best Protosses, who is, you know, dueling Max Packs for best Protoss in Europe. Which is kind of cool, little story, I suppose, because we do have, we have at least Max Packs waiting in the other semifinals. Clem didn't actually play today. Sometimes during these regional weeks, which if you did not know, we are actually doing the Atlanta Regionals. Started last week, goes on this week, continues on for next week. Sometimes a lot of the players just decide not to sign up for the Open Cup. It's too much StarCraft even for them, or they just want to hide some builds. So either way. So Clem usually does participate. Not today, but still we have, as I was saying, 2 of the best European players overall, certainly of their races. HeRoMaRinE went for a actually swap on that factory, so he's producing Hellions right now. ShoWTimE has absolutely been favoring this Stargate Oracle opener into potentially even more Oracles, actually. Depends on what he scouts. So for this one, he has no idea what's following this up. He's gonna get a second Oracle. Because that is the safer way to go. You know, any production of any unit's gonna help out when it comes to early game defense. Case in point right here, right? And actually, after dealing with this, could he cancel a second? I guess there's not really a reason to cancel a second Oracle, actually. Not really. You'd get a little bit faster in your Twilight Council production. That would be like the main reason, right? But 2 Oracles gonna help kill some SCVs. It's already underway. It's already been chrono boosted. I think that was twice even. Go ahead and just get it. And then 2 gas coming down as well after that 3rd Nexus. So ShoWTimE does look to be going into perhaps Colossus? Phoenix Colossus? The 2 Oracles might be a little bit weird. But again, probably just going off of what he saw earlier on. Is he actually... Okay, so here's the thing. 1. I just saw the last game of ShoWTimE vs. Spirit. ShoWTimE went for a lot of Adepts. Is it possible he's trying to bring the Adept Phoenix back? It's possible. We'll see in a second, you know, whether he gets Resident Glaives or not. Oh, so far, beautiful defense. Fan-freaking-tastic defense of the Armory Widowmine drop build. This is perfect, actually. So this is more so leaning towards what my second point was going to be, is that does he just know what HeRoMaRinE is going to follow up with? Right? Because if he knew, because this has been happening a lot, or he was afraid on Moondance of this happening, it was map specific, that he was going to be followed up with a Widowmine drop, then of course you would get more units. You get a Phoenix to help tag some of these medevacs. You get some adept spread around the map a little bit, and you have your oracles in the main ready to pulsar beam down the Widowmines that did arrive. I mean, that was perfect, right? If he was worried about a more forward attack, some type of tank follow-up onto his natural, which does happen on the short map, he would have gotten a shield battery in the natural. So if he did misread it, he'd be in a lot of trouble, but he didn't. So somehow, based off this information, which was not a lot, all right, he peeked back in there to see the factory did swap off, but he figured that out once the Hellions arrived. Yeah, he knew to defend this. There's still a chance that these Widowmines get big pop-offs, of course, because that's what they do, but... yeah. All right. And while I was talking, Charge did start up. Bother getting a second Phoenix. Still handled the Widowmines rather gracefully. 5 probes in total. 6. Sorry, one coming out of the gas geyser. But for all of this, plus the actual build order that HeRoMaRinE did to even accommodate this, like, I'd say that's a pretty freaking great opener for ShoWTimE. He has handled things about as perfectly as one can. Let's hope I don't jinx him. I think he's forgotten. Uh-oh. Oh, God, I jinxed him, didn't I? Oh, shit. This Widowmine was forgotten about. He forgot about it. He forgot about it. He doesn't see it. Oh, and HeRoMaRinE actually retargeted. Still isn't the juiciest shot possible, but with the distraction in the main base, whew, almost was late to the natural, and the third base just has not been mining too much because of so many probe pools. And, you know, ultimately 8 probes have died, so that's, I mean, it's getting to a decent number, but after how many Widowmine drops? So always keep that in mind. Looks like one of the oracles went across the map to get some scouting, while the other one stayed at home to do the revelations, which definitely a good move on ShoWTimE's part. Confirms that it's a third CC and not some 2-base follow-up, I guess. Pretty sure I didn't see that armor. No. Yeah. I'm like pretty sure he didn't see the armory back when I was checking if he knew this was going to be the follow-up, and maybe he did. So he hasn't rescouted the natural, right, just with the oracle pathing, but maybe I missed that. Because ShoWTimE really did have like the best possible setup, right, which would usually mean that he scouted it, but anyways. Lots of disorganization happening because of the Widowmine drop. Is kind of the most impact that it's had. Really? Not like 8 probes, I still wouldn't say is worth it. But it's 8 probes plus a lot of indirect damage, so we had a couple more supply blocks. Holy shit, ShoWTimE is still supply block. That's a bad one, man. That is a terrible supply block. Damn. Because he's been trying to build probes for a while now as well. So he has lost the lead in economy that he really should have had. Well, maybe not even lead, but he probably should have been on the level with HeRoMaRinE, right? And HeRoMaRinE has just jumped multiple times. All of the transferring, that has also impacted the rest of the build order, right? How fast you can get a 4th Nexus with how many minerals have been lost and the dealing of the Widowmine drops. And even though ShoWTimE... okay, he finally got bopped, I guess, at one point. He got hit by 19 probes in total. Is actually pretty decent at this point. I don't know, man. It still felt like things are about as perfect as possible for a long time. But all the indirect things started to add up. What ShoWTimE has done well, I suppose, has been focusing a lot on him, because he's the one that's been under attack. What he's done well is actually set up a lot of stasis traps and detectors, so he knows where HeRoMaRiNE's coming in. So that's something, right? And he's built up a decent army. There's no doubting that. He's been able to collect enough pennies to look formidable, but still shocking how much he really fell behind. HeRoMaRiNE was doing all that aggression while macroing quite well, so he's actually on a 4th orbital. Now moving on to a 5th, so that's pretty damn good. So ShoWTimE is absolutely in trouble. He's gotten to a position where if he defends quite well, maybe not perfectly, but at least quite well, he'll live. He'll be able to play out this game. but he does anything less than quite well. If it's only, I guess, somewhat acceptable, then it's actually not acceptable at all. He's gonna die, and already it's a little subpar, isn't it? One Marine in the main did more damage. Medivacs came back into the main, realizing it was open. Pull some of the army away from the front lines as well. Not even the army necessarily on the front lines, actually. ShoWTimE also couldn't take advantage of the chokes on Moondance because he was so busy doing other things. So we have a 50 supply lead for HeRoMaRinE as he takes down that last Colossus that got out of range of the shield battery overcharge. ShoWTimE definitely did not handle this follow-up as well as he was hoping that he would. Void Ray surprisingly effective towards these last moments. I never give respect to the Void Ray this late into this matchup, but you know, I'll give it here. That was actually pretty decent. But ShoWTimE is not going to find a whole lot of momentum. ShoWTimE has not even scouted his opponent's side of the map in a long time. Basically, since that one Oracle scout of the 3rd CC passed by the Armory, he completely missed any opportunity to scout how fast his opponent got a 4th. Not that he could have done anything about it. Like, that just would have been information that was almost useless to the guy. He still was going to get pushed the same manner, and he was incapable of doing any run-bys. So, it just would have, I don't know, really solidified how screwed he is. Which, he is pretty screwed. That double drop into the main has gotten a couple of Protosses on this map in the last couple of weeks, it feels like. But yeah, that was an almost fast enough cleanup is the really, I think, heartbreaking thing. I guess as a ShoWTimE fan, but also just as a speaking from the Protoss heart right now, is that the drop in the main was almost inconsequential. That is to say that he dealt with it and then it went to this base and he was going to deal with it there. But then it went back into the main. Like, one Marine was just hammering away at the probes, and then went back into the main, so he had to redirect his focus on it again. And that's where I was saying that it's not even the amount of units that were used to defend that main base as much as it was that he was totally distracted. He could have been using these chokes, force fielding them, using the 3 Colossus beams, reinforcing, perhaps, at the right moment, as opposed to the last second. And that would have probably resulted in more of like a 162 maxed out PvT, which is playable. 140 to maxed out, not as playable, not as okay. Also, upgrades favoring HeRoMaRinE as he finishes up his EMP upgrade. It's going to be absolutely brutal on these Archons, which actually most of them are missed, but also shield battery. Main base is going to be handled well, by the way. But this should not hold. This should not hold. 4 Archons should get obliterated in just 1 second here. Alright, 2 of them got obliterated. 3rd one might go down. Yeah, and without those Archon buffering, I don't know. Can he actually hold? That was quite a few stims. Colossus was being able to beam down his entire fight. Actually, that was just barely enough. I really feel like if HeRoMaRinE had those ghosts, plural, on the front lines faster and actually hit the EMPs immediately, I think that army gets bopped. But it was kind of like a little staggered in its attack, and the EMPs didn't hit perfectly. And of course, it was a shield battery that was very well positioned, so don't forget about that. But still, okay, all right. ShoWTimE has given himself a chance here, but he's still down in supply. He's still down in bases. HeRoMaRinE is only low on money because he's invested so much into it, into his infrastructure. He's got 4 extra command centers, which I think ShoWTimE also just got bopped on the army, so he never got to scout that there was extra command centers. He just knew that he was too far gone. Yeah. Actually, I'll show you. I don't usually do this, but I'll show you the graphs, I think, in this case as well. The army supply was actually decent. This was the clumsy hold of the main drop in the 3rd base attack, so you can see that he just went way far down. I would have also shown you the economy, but we got into the lobby, so it doesn't work. Oh, well. Ugh. Did talk a lot about ShoWTimE. He was just the one under so much pressure. But HeRoMaRinE, gotta touch on just how well he played that out from start to finish. It was so probably like perfect on the macro, because you know, you could argue it wasn't really perfect on the on the offense. The Widowmines didn't do a whole lot for a very long time, but it looked like it was so perfect on the macro that it was almost mundane. It was like, it was deceivingly mundane. You were like, okay, well, these Widowmines are the most important part, right? So you pay attention to the Widowmines, and it's like a magic trick. Don't watch the mouth, watch the hands type situation. And for HeRoMaRinE, it was watch the macro, which apparently was just so damn good. So bottom left, winning that first map, it is HeRoMaRinE. Top right, we have ShoWTimE, who fumbled the ball a little bit for sure. As I was saying, encapsulate the entire game. TLDW. ShoWTimE defended pretty much perfectly for the first 3 Widowmine drops, at least. Yeah, I think the first 3 Widowmine drops. As well as the little cheeky Marine Hellion push thing. Screws up a little bit on some of the further drops, starts losing, you know, more probes. And at one point, I think got a 10 hit that I just missed. So that obviously sucked. But it was at the point where it was already 3 base saturated, I think. So it's supposed to be as painful. But anyways, he does that. He looks really great. He gets to a decent enough point. It looks great, but it's actually not the greatest. But he gets to a fine point in the PvT. Has an army capable of handling everything HeRoMaRinE has to throw at him. But doesn't actually have everything in position. So a drop into the main base really screws up his reinforcement line and his presence. Like, his mind was elsewhere when it should have been focusing on the main attack, and that is really what screwed ShoWTimE over. That was the beginning of the end, because it was just that poorly handled, which isn't usually ShoWTimE's problem, but HeRoMaRinE just hit him at the exact right time. So HeRoMaRinE looks almost flawless in that game. I mean, it got quite easy after that defense at the third base didn't go so hot. And now HeRoMaRinE gonna go for a very safe opener with a high ground command center, which ShoWTimE did scout. Oh, he what? How did he not see that? I know he had to leave faster because it was a Marine opener, but I guess the probe did leave before seeing the command center. Well, there wasn't a second barracks. He actually didn't scout the gases. I mean, is there actually a way ShoWTimE misidentifies this as a factory expand? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really change anything, I guess. So that's whatever, right? Factory expands with a non-proxied barracks. Pretty much do kind of the same thing ShoWTimE is doing. Either one racks or non-proxied factory expand. So the only thing that would be very different for him would be kind of like a mentality shift, I suppose. But I don't think it's that important. So either way, ShoWTimE is doing his normal thing. We'll once again see if he goes into more oracles. In this game, he does not have to, / I don't think he wants to. 2 oracles can be standard, that's fine. But I don't think he's going to go into 3 or 4, which he'll do if it's actually something very concerning. Oh, good cancel on the Adepts. Takes care of one of the Hellion. Now this is just effectively a scouting unit. And it is going to scout the second Oracle. The first Oracle got across the map. Figured that there wasn't going to be a Widowmine, which it was correct about. Oh, but it's going to run into the Cyclone accidentally. There was an opportunity for that Oracle to escape, but ShoWTimE went the wrong direction. Zigged instead of zagged, and now he only has 1 Oracle anyways. But he did get his 3rd Nexus down. And once again going into 2 gases of the natural. So fairly similar to the opener of last game. The difference would be that he doesn't see a reason to go into Phoenix, which he did see a reason to last game. Ahead by 9 workers. This 3rd Nexus is about 80% done. It's fine. And HeRoMaRinE went into a 2-1 setup. Now going into the 3-1-1. So we will have some medevacs already out before Combat Shields is ready. And ShoWTimE would have been able to see that. Yes, he did. And knows roughly what he's up against. Can invest into an Immortal before adding on that Robotics Bay by the looks of things. He also went Charge last game. which, I mean, worth noting, he didn't have any Blink Stalkers to maybe help with that main base defense, but that's kind of where the Phoenix, as he built up 2, were supposed to help a little bit, so they just weren't in position, and they can't really help if it's fully unloaded. And then he was trying to get to a Void Ray, actually, which had HeRoMaRinE waited 30 seconds to do that drop, possibly would have been a bigger difference maker. So ShoWTimE saw that it was going to be kind of a expedited medevac problem. I'm using the word problem because I don't know what to call it, a push or a drop, because ShoWTimE also doesn't know. You know, when you go for faster 2 medevacs, like a 2-1-1 and TVZ, you're thinking drop, but of course we know that can unload anywhere and do whatever it wants. In this case, ShoWTimE was very correct in predicting an actual drop into the main base. So Stasis Trap, plus Shield Battery, plus some reinforcements. Does lose a handful of Stalkers, but grabs maybe both of the medevacs, yes indeed. And now HeRoMaRiNE's going to try and pick up whatever he can, but with the Guardian Shield activated, it's not going to be very much more. So in total, entire drop lost for 3 Stalkers. So it's actually pretty okay. Pretty damn good. And also, it was a relatively easy defense. There was a little bit of a panic, perhaps, when you had to bring your army over and you're like, fuck over here already, it's so fucking slow. But otherwise, it was pretty okay. So ShoWTimE can really focus on more of his macro. Oh, he's gonna save the Oracle. Oh my god. Okay. Great to have that for Revelation still, right? Now I'm gonna go into Double Forge. That is one thing that's been missing from this type of opener, is no forges whatsoever. And actually, the Robotic Spike did come down, but okay, there it is. Colossus is starting up, so there you go. So Blink Colossus with 3 base already set up. You've already completely shut down the first form of aggression from the Terran, which of course means that the next form of aggression has less to work with, so you should be feeling pretty good about this game. Don't let something screw you up like a single medevac drop into the main, which ShoWTimE handles without losing a single unit. Yes, indeed. So this is actually such a good start for ShoWTimE, and that if he loses from here, he'll probably be very frustrated. It's one of those games where the pros would identify this as a good situation and be like, I just gotta play it out, you know, well enough from now on. As the all-seeing eye, it's kind of my job to tell you how ShoWTimE would screw this up or how HeRoMaRinE would bring this back. And certainly a 2-base SCV pool might bring this back. HeRoMaRiNE's still not going for a 3rd CC. Set up like he is, which might just be a keep up appearances, right? Probably is. So ShoWTimE, I mean, funnily enough, not even scouting, so it's not even, there's no appearance to be kept up right now, but yeah, he just scanned to see if there was an observer, so that was nice of him. There is not one, so that's also just a good sign for him in general. And now this observer is going to see the move out. No SCV pool, though. But 4 tanks, 4 Vikings, more reinforcements, a little bit of an SCV pull. Okay, I was going to say, like, you know, there's no 3rd CC. Why aren't we pulling SCVs? But it's almost like a Babby pull. Like a Babby pool. Enough to repair, not enough to buffer. That's not their main goal, I suppose. ShoWTimE, he might have had some last-second information given to him, but he has built up a really, really good situation again, right? His 4th Nexus, the shield battery's even done. Able to see it halfway at the very least meant that he was able to meet it halfway, get some shots in, get some stims, force the tanks to re-siege. That buys a couple extra warp-ins. Maybe that's how you win, right? So ShoWTimE, I think the only thing that really could have killed him was more of a blitz, more of like, oh shit, and then you're dead. Now that he's been able to kind of calmly figure this one out, I think he'll be fine. He's gonna have his 1-1. Oh no, not if he chooses to engage right now, but he is gonna have at least 1 upgrade, extended thermal lance and a shield battery overcharge. Moving in here with the Guardian Shield as well, effective throughout the entire fight. Archon's tanking a lot of these blasts, and a complete removal of HeRoMaRiNE's army. No sweat at all. ShoWTimE wins game 2. Apollo is very upset with me for leaving again, even though I just came back from a 3-week trip. He was kind of sullen, but now he's forgiven me. Now the series is all tied up. Moving on to Tropical Sacrifice. Top right, HeRoMaRinE. Bottom left, ShoWTimE. So kind of equally one-sided games, really. Oh, kind of. I think that game was sooner heavily favoring a player than the first game. First game wasn't really heavily favoring anyone, I think, until ShoWTimE didn't handle the drop attack combination. Then it was very heavily in HeRoMaRiNE's favor, and we kind of just watched an expected outcome unfold. Last game, yeah, it was very, very quickly, I think, in ShoWTimE's favor. As soon as he dealt with that 2 medevac drop as effectively as he did, actually completely shut it down. I think HeRoMaRiNE, on the flip side, is that ShoWTimE would be saying to himself, like, okay, I win from here, right? All other things not considered, I suppose, all other potential failures not considered, he would have won that, and he did, as he did shore up his defenses, and he did not get screwed over by anything silly. HeRoMaRiNE, on the flip side, was probably like, oh, well, I guess that's it. 2 medevacs get completely taken out. He probably does a little, like, you know, like, ah. And then he says something in a thick German accent about how that was not good, and probably won't be able to take this one. Something like that. Who was watching the stream? Tell me what he said. Because it really just, it takes away 16 Marines, 2 medevacs, so firepower. Just firepower, takes away a lot of firepower. It takes away mobility. There's no, oh my god, where is it coming in from now? What do I have to put where? There's no question to the Protoss what happens next, or for at least for the next minute. And doesn't get to combine power with anything further. So if 2 medevacs had at least lived with, let's say, 10 Marines in them, they combine with the drop, or with the push, sorry, after threatening more drops, it does make a very different game. I don't think the 2 medevac drops have to, like, literally straight up kill 20 probes, but I do think they have to cause a lot of chaos and get the heck out of there, more so. But that did not happen whatsoever, so very much easier game for a Protoss player after that. Complete removal of all pressure, and now we get to game 3, which hopefully is a little more actually back and forth, a little bit more of a catch game than a throw game. Doo-doo. So now we have HeRoMaRiNE once again going for a high ground command center, which this time for sure ShoWTimE saw. Because that sometimes is a bit of an issue. Again, non-proxied factory expand, Protoss shouldn't be reacting all that harshly. So if you were to misidentify a factory expand versus a 1 racks expand, but everything's at their house, everything's at their base, like the Protoss could probably just, you know, get away with whatever they were doing. So maybe they do change their gateway expand into a 7x4 expand, but I think it's okay. And then it's more so, okay, do they get a follow-up scout? So for instance, maybe that type of indecision, maybe you did not get to see confirmation of what the heck it was, you would change a Twilight Council opener to a Stargate opener, maybe, or you'd warp in a Sentry or something like that, or you'd get an Adept across the map, no matter what, whatever. But since ShoWTimE is opening like this every single time, I mean, even if he was a little uncertain, the Oracle scouts whatever it is, generally, I suppose, in good time. I say generally because I'm sure on the ladder there's some Terran that's walls off the probe scout and then goes for like a 1-1-1 push, but not professionally. 2 probes just went down. What is going on here? Oh, what am I drop? So what am I drop? You know, that's fine. 2 what am I, or 2 probes. Yeah, make that 3 probes. Old Protoss dilemma. They want to get back to scouting, but they also... Wait, why did he sacrifice the Stalker for that? Interesting. Oh, and he lost an Oracle there, too. I'm gonna move past that Stalker sacrifice, because I don't really want to get into the... Was it on purpose? Was it an accident? More so important is that he did eventually handle it, because that was definitely weighing on his mind. Can't just stop his probes from mining the entire freaking time. And he also has to get back to worrying about what the follow-up is. So this little push requires some micro, doesn't it? Can't be bothering with a HeRoMaRinE drop at that point, which is still lurking around potentially. No, he sees the medevac actually. Seeing the medevac, seeing the HeRoMaRiNEs, knows something else to worry about. Just gotta micro this one out, which is gonna be difficult. There is no shield battery on that third base. That could be why he actually loses this battle. And the Liberator actually gonna get sieged up. Doesn't even get down to half health. At least the Cyclone gets picked off before it is picked up. But no shield battery is a real bummer here. It's a supreme bummer. Take care of the Liberator. Oh my gosh, second Cyclone actually pops in to help out. This is brilliant use of space right now from HeRoMaRinE. Finally gets the Liberator at the cost of Soccer there. Shield battery is also dangerously close to dying. It's gonna get focused, and ShoWTimE's defense was not good enough. It was not good enough. He actually is gonna lose the game right here. Crazy how fast that can snowball, but that's how it goes. That is how the cookie's gonna crumble today. HeRoMaRinE with, you know, not an uncommon push. I think ShoWTimE was wary of something like it. But the loss of the second Oracle, a little bit less to work with. And then the, perhaps, distraction, all things combined, right? Oh no, the...